Hereby call this meeting to order. Joint Committee Development and Tax Abatement, Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 at 6:30 in the Abatement Chamber. Located at 165 Church Street, New Haven, second floor, to hear and act upon the following item LM-2024-0754, order of the New Haven Board of Alders approving the request from Property Tax Research LLC, submitting on behalf of Community Preservation Partners an application for a tax agreement pertaining to the rehabilitation of affordable housing at Brewery Square. And it's located at 19 River Road, parcel number 8038. The item is on file and available for public inspection in the Office of Legislative Services, 165 Church Street, New Haven, per order Honorable Carter Rodriguez and Honorable Jose Crespo, co-chairs. Attest Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. This is in advance. 7651. Those are 203-946-8582. Public comment testimony may also be submitted to public testimony at havenc.gov before 2 p.m. one day of the meeting. If you also on the Alders YouTube channel. At this time, I'm going to ask if you can introduce yourself, starting from my right.
Frank Cadenti, Ward 15.
South Dakota, Ward 18.
Teresa Maria, Ward 12.
Brian Wingate, Ward 29, Beaver Hills.
Carmen Rodriguez, Ward 6.
Frank Douglas, Ward 2.
Amy Marks, Ward 26.
Sarah Miller, Ward 14.
Jose Crespo, Ward 16, and my colleague Carmen and I will be co-chairing this joint meeting. At this time, we'll ask the petitioner to please come up. And just some housekeeping rules, if you can state your name and address for the record.
Barry Cunningham.
That's you. You can speak into the mic.
Barry Cunningham, 34 Spring Valley Drive, Grantham, New Hampshire, 03753.
Mark Wilson, 15 Racewood Road, Waterbury, Connecticut, City of New Haven, EDA, Economic Development.
Please state your case.
So we're here to, in hopes of convincing the board to move forward with the pilot on Brewery Square. And we submitted an application last fall, and Mark has been super helpful in helping us proceed with the project. The project's going to be completed by Community Preservation Partners, and they're the group that did Fairbank a few years back. I don't know if you remember. And Beacon is also involved in this project. Beacon is the investor on this, and it involves the rehabilitation of this historical property. I don't know if you're familiar with Beacon Square. There's 140 units there, and currently 36 of those units are affordable. CPP's plan and Beacon's plan is to expand the number of affordable units up to 84 units. And so that was a big objective of CPP's. So they're actually expanding the affordability component, and in the context of that, they'll be re-upping their rental assistance agreement, the HAP agreement, for an additional 20 years. And as part of the expansion of the affordability units through low-income housing tax credits, they'll be tying that up for, I believe, 30 years. It follows the mortgage.
Very good.
By the way, I should mention that the renovations are pretty extensive. It's going to be around $100,000 per unit. The plan is to, it's going to be pretty great. CPP has won awards. You should know they won awards for some of their bumps, so they're really, really solid. And the plan is to try to mitigate the number of displacements of tenants in the project. They're going to be setting aside about $100,000 for some alternate housing for some, but they're gonna begin with the empty units, and then as the units turn over, they're gonna go ahead and do those renovations and try to do as much of it without disrupting the tenants. And they're estimating about 15 months for the project. The financing of the project involves historical tax credits, state tax credits, bond financing, as well as conventional financing. And the majority of the affordable units are going to range between 30 and 80% of AMI, about equally distributed between 30 up to 80. I think that's.
Anything like that?
If you all have any questions, I'll try to field some, but I think Mr. Sullivan covered it, pretty well. I think it should be noted too that generally developers will come in and ask for $500 per unit. This developer has asked for $1,500 with a 3% escalator over 17 years, so.
Yeah, and on that note, if I may, I looked at the last number of pilot agreements, and it seemed like there was that range that was like 500 to 1,000 recently. We went with 1,500 right out of the gate because that, I believe, is what we did with Fairbank, and we didn't want to. We just want to be consistent.
Thank you. I'll open up the floor to my colleagues with any questions. Alder?
Thank you. Of all these units, how many will be accessible for wheelchair people?
Ooh.
Because we do have some people that have wheelchairs.
I think that I want to say 6. I just
You
don't.
can get back to us, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're doing that because
Yeah. Oh,
your
yeah.
apartment is totally different when it's handicapped in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, that I'm sorry, I can't remember the exact number, and I will get that for you. Because that did come up in some discussions that we were having about the way it is currently. It's somewhat problematic now, particularly as you're getting down out of the buildings, not just in the buildings. And so that's all part of the plan. And I will get that number back
And
to
then
the
another
board.
question, will you have a contract for your elevator? Because we have issues with other buildings, when the elevators go down, they take weeks to fix them, and the fire department has to carry people up. Will you have a contract?
We will have a contract, yeah, we'll have a third-party contract for that as well as a number of other operating expenses.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Of course. Any additional questions? Alder?
Thank you for coming and thank you for reaching out early on this project. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I lived
thank
in
you.
this building, 2 different units many years ago. It has a reputation as a very well-maintained facility, really a model of mixed income building like this. Tenants, for the most part, are really, really happy with what's there now. And so I wonder if you could talk about what you're actually going to be doing and inside and how you'll maintain the level of maintenance and quality that people have become accustomed to there.
So not only has CQP won awards for their development projects, they won awards for their management of properties all around the country, from San Francisco to the East Coast. At 100,000 units, it's going to be very, very extensive. We're talking all new appliances, stainless steel. I know that there's been some discussion about what exactly the countertops are going to be. Is it quartz or is it going to be granite? And I think because the cost is interestingly the same. It's going to be extensive. Refinished floors.
Sorry, hi, I'm Diana Toretto with Beacon Communities, partnering with CPP.
She's with Beacon. This is
Your address for the record.
My address?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1300 Avenue of Americas, Port Imperial, Weehawken, New Jersey.
Thank you.
Far trip, sorry.
That's all right. So it's going to be, and for example, there's a small building, outbuilding. They're going to turn that into a place to put bikes, for a bike station. They're going to put a playground in. The landscaping is going to be really good. There's a lot of cobblestone that's going in. It's going to be pretty, it's going to be pretty neat. It's going to be very family friendly.
One follow-up, if I may, Mr. Chair. The other thing that's notable about this building is that it's a historic building. And when it was renovated, initially, I think like 30 plus years ago, it won all these national awards as a model for a renovated brewery. And I'm wondering how you relate to the historic nature of the property. Are there any renovations that are designed to maintain the historic character and really continue to capitalize on that as an asset?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are utilizing historic tax credits as part of the financing for this. I'm sorry. So we're utilizing historic tax credits as part of the financing for this, which requires us to abide by certain historic standards, has to go all through the National Park Services. So all the historic elements of the building will be maintained and just refreshed, and like the facade would be tightened, but all in accordance to regulations regarding the historic nature of the building. And it will remain on the National Park Services Historic Registry.
Okay.
Yeah, an example of that might be for historical tax credits, one of the things they're going to be doing is reinforcing some areas of the building. But with historical buildings, what you do is you frame out from the inside. And so you can't see it, and it maintains the character that it has, but it still has that infrastructure that supports it for another 150 years.
Right, exactly. It refreshes the whole envelope and inside of the building to maintain the extended use of the life.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Alderman Marks?
And I also did want to just point out there's 11 accessible units. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's fine.
That's why she came.
Appreciate it. Alderman West?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm new to looking at this building, so I was hoping you could back up a little bit with some information. I'm just trying to understand how many units there are currently, what the subsidy is or isn't for the current units, how many are occupied, and then I'm trying to understand the numbers you have for the proposed redevelopment. I see numbers like 84 low income, 20 market, but I see the number 66 in the letter. So can somebody break down the current and the proposed?
So the current is 36 units.
I think it's 38 are under the half agreement.
Yeah, 38.
It's 38, okay.
And 66 are market rate.
And 66 are market rate. And
38 subsidy.
yeah, now 46 are going to be added under the low income housing tax credit units.
Exactly, under the income averaging set aside. So it'll be from 30% AMI all the way up to 80% AMI. And the LIHTC coverage would overlay both the HAP units and those additional units Barry just mentioned.
And that's what brings you to the 84. And then you have 20 that'll be market.
I'm sorry, can I hear that again? If I understand correctly, there's currently 38 units under a HAP, which will be a project-based
Housing assistance payments, correct, yeah.
voucher, 66 market. You're adding to the affordable units, another 46 affordable units. Is what I heard
That's
you
right.
say?
Yes.
Which that's going to be a new
No.
building.
So the number of 104 units will remain the same. It's just the makeup will change. So instead of there being 66 market rate units, there'll now be 84 affordable units and 20 market rate units. So we're gaining as a city 46 affordable units.
Thank you for clarification. If I can ask Mr. Chair along these lines, and the subsidy on the new, well, as reconfigured when we get to 86, I'm sorry,
84.
reconfigured when we get to
84.
84 affordable.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this. I'd like to hear the breakdown of the subsidy for each of those 84, please.
The LIHTC unit set aside.
I don't know, I'm asking.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
So it will be between, I'll give you the exact breakout, but it's between 30% AMI of the area income and 80% AMI of the area income. So it will be LIHTC unit set asides.
I'm sorry, maybe I'll rephrase my question.
You want to know the exact number?
No, I'm sorry. I want to know what the subsidy is. You currently have a HAP contract for project-based vouchers.
LIHTC, low income affordable housing. It's a credit type that requires deed restriction.
Can I back up again?
Sure.
So my understanding is there's currently a HAP contract between HUD and the owner for a certain number of units and they're project-based Section 8 vouchers.
Mhm.
I'd like to know, in addition, I think LIHTC money is being used to add additional units perhaps. Maybe Mr. Wilson
That's right.
can speak to this, but I want to know what's happening to the HAP contract, please.
Oh, it's remaining.
The HAP contract is remaining, and they're going to be renewing it for an additional 20 years.
And if you want to, Mr. Chairman?
Good.
So the HAP contract will continue to govern 38 of the units?
Yes,
Yes.
There'll be no expansion of the HAP contract to additional units. And the 46 additional ones will just be low-income housing tax credit.
yes.
Correct.
So you'll have two different forms of subsidies for different units within the building.
Right.
Exactly.
So they do an income averaging, so it'll average out to be 50% AMI over those 84 units. The HAP contract deals with deeply affordable units, the 38. The other units would be fall under it anywhere. We've asked them to tier it well, so no one income qualifies out of a unit. And I think that's why the 20 market rate units is a help, so no one will be displaced. We made sure that no one loses their apartment. Because there may be some people there now that are paying market rate. They come in and they adjust it to be affordable, and then these people no longer have a unit. So they're making sure that no one is displaced during the construction.
I mean, Mr. Chair, appreciate there's no displacement of current tenants when you shift on subsidy. If I can ask the question of, there are 38 units that are currently under HAP contract. How many of those are currently occupied? And can you re-specify the plans for those tenants during the redevelopment?
So I believe I want to get back to you, but they're occupied. All of them are occupied. So the way we're working is that there's currently about 7 vacants in the remaining units outside the HAP contract. And what will happen is during renovations, we'll be able to relocate them into the empty units to do the rehab if necessary, and then move them back into their original unit.
You don't expect any off-site relocation of any of the HAP tenants?
Not at this time.
But we made sure in their budget that they've allocated funds to cover that in case they do.
Yeah, there's $100,000 set aside.
We don't want anybody relocated or displaced, but if they have to, then we'll follow up to make sure that these people are cared for. And we made sure that there were funds set aside for them.
And they've also asked the seller to, if in the interim here, before the closing, if there's units that get vacated to maybe hold off on leasing those units. As I understand it, that's what we were explained by John Fraser, the project lead on this CPP, just the other day.
So given that you said, of course,
Mr. Manager.
given that you said summer, my question is, when will the property belong to the applicant? Who's the applicant that's applying for the tax abatement this evening?
Well, the actual ownership entity, has that been created? Is that,
Yes.
okay.
So that's the JV between CPP and Beacon.
And so it's principally Beacon, right?
So 60% CPP,
Yeah.
40% Beacon, and our business terms.
And the plan to close this is as soon as possible. And in fact, this is the last piece of the whole puzzle. It's been a long road.
And I do want to point out that Beacon Residential Management will be the property manager once the ownership transition happens. So we're currently owner and property manager on 9th Square, soon to be State and Chapel and Montgomery.
Okay. Because I see that Research LLC is the one submitting the request.
Yeah, I submitted the request on behalf of,
Of the Community Preservation Partners,
correct.
which is Beacon.
Well, Community Preservation Partners is one of the partners, Beacon is the other partner in the LLC that will take the title.
Okay.
Yes.
So 60% would be CPP, like you stated,
Mhm.
and Beacon will have the other 40%.
Correct.
Correct.
And yep, that makes sense. Okay. Any additional questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to acknowledge my colleague from the 2020 work as well. At this time, I would like to ask, is there anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item? Does anyone from the public wish to testify? Does anyone from the public wishing to testify on this item?
Chair.
Nicola,
I move that we close.
Second.
Portion.
discussion. Seeing none, all in favor to close the public portion of this meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Mr.
Any
Chair,
abstention? The ayes have it. I hereby close the public portion of this meeting. Madam Chair? Alderman Nicola.
I move this item favorably to approve this.
Second.
The item has been moved in second discussion. Madam Chair.
Thank you, Alder Crespo. In knowing that Beacon Communities is in 9 Square and how they handle their properties and how they manage their properties and care for their residents, this is a great opportunity to have this come to, I believe, Ward 14. And again, they have been a staple in this community for many, many years. I'm the alder in Ward 6, where they have lots of residents, and they have been phenomenal with their residents and ensuring that they stay in their properties housed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I wanted to just highlight that when we met with the legislative committee, they volunteered $1,500 per unit, which typically is 500. So that's 3 times the amount that we typically expect from folks, and I think that's very wonderful, giving them want to remain, in unison with their other projects. So given that they're bringing more affordability to the community, it is essential. We like it, we love it, we want it. And so I will also vote in favor of this item. Alder,
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Madam Chair. I also support this item. I think it's great for the community. I like that they was able to answer questions that was proposed to them. It looked like they're gonna be a great partner for the city of Haven, and I think we need to support that. So I'm in favor for it.
any other comments? Alder Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to echo, this is an important building in Fairhaven, in the city. There's a lot of history. As I mentioned, I lived there for quite some time. And I really do think it's an example of what a high quality mixed income building with character and, a lot of the amenities that we want for all of our residents. There's a gym, it's very well maintained, and it really has all income levels now and operates very, very well. So I think all indications are they reached out to me very early, and I think the plan for transitioning and doing the renovations without displacing people has been very carefully developed, and there's a lot of care and thought that has gone into all of that. So I think all indications are that the new team will maintain the level, if not exceed the level, and so I'm in support of the project and invite everybody to join me in supporting it.
Any additional comments? Questions, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? The ayes have it. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair,
Alderman
I
Nicola.
move that we adjourn.
Second.
No discussion needed. All in favor, please indicate with an eye.
Aye.
I want to thank also our former colleagues for joining us this evening, and I hereby adjourn.
I know, there's one in the middle.
So it's what, so they're asking.
Please call the petition back.